Hello and welcome. This is Sandy Freshy, professional life coach and human design specialist of coachingwithsandy.com. Thank you so much for taking a few moments to sit with this presentation to discover the 3 hidden causes of stress that you have the power to change. As you're probably already well aware, you pay a very high cost when you're under stress. And many medical studies have cited the toll that stress takes upon your health. But before you ever get to the point where your health begins to suffer, stress undermines you in so many subtle and debilitating ways. So you may be feeling relatively okay physically now, but perhaps you're noticing that your productivity is suffering, or that you're just not feeling at your best, or maybe your relationships are suffering. Regardless of how you're experiencing stress in your life, you can be sure that you're missing opportunities which could lead you to deeper life satisfaction and success. So what is the price that you're paying for the stress that you're experiencing right now? Oh, you may feel that you're managing okay because your body hasn't broken down yet, but are you really getting all of the juice from your life, or are you just surviving? When you let stress go on for long enough, your ability to make decisions about your well-being gets hampered, and you begin to lose all trust in yourself. You get paralyzed in a stress and self-doubt cycle. It's like your life force gets drained so that your fuel tank is never quite full. And when your energy reserves run even just a little bit low, you begin to get out of touch with yourself and what's best for you because your judgment is impaired. A simple example of this is the stress that you experience when you haven't eaten in a while. Now, we all experience hunger, and hunger is an indication that your fuel tank, which holds nutrition from food, is running low. So have you noticed that when you're a little bit too hungry for too long, your judgment about good food choices gets impaired? Now, if you do this enough times and make it a habit, you'll find that you start to struggle with feeding yourself things that really nourish you. You'll start to struggle with making good, consistent food choices. So this is an example of how a physical stressor can hinder your ability to make great choices for your well-being. So here's an example of how stress can affect you either emotionally or mentally and keep you in a place of paralysis so that you feel like you can't move forward in your life. Let's consider someone who was criticized as a child for making mistakes. And this happens quite often, usually unintentionally from well-meaning parents or family members. But most children have a learning style of learning by doing. They need to make mistakes in order to learn. So if you were a child like that and you lived in an environment where you felt criticized, you may have developed some coping strategies for managing the stress of criticism or the stress of trying things that didn't work out. And it may look like either a hesitation to try new things, or perfectionism, or the fear of failure, or the hesitation to take responsibility for your creations in a way that they can really flourish. In essence, you get paralyzed. You don't move forward, and you may put a cap on your ability to grow in ways that allow you to really thrive. So take a moment to get in touch with the stress that you're experiencing in your life. What does it feel like? You probably feel like you don't have a lot of control. So what happens when you attempt to make healthier choices for yourself when you don't feel like you have a lot of control? Often what happens is that you become confused or distracted or sidetracked because you can't really see your situation clearly. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can break the cycle of paralysis and self-doubt. You can move out of the stress. And you can live a vibrant life of clarity where you can trust yourself to make decisions which lead to better health in all areas of your life. You can rebuild trust in yourself so that you are more resilient to the outside stressors in your life so that you can be more successful, productive, and fulfilled. There are a lot of things about life, especially if you're under a lot of stress, that you don't have the power to change. You can't change other people. You can't make them treat you a certain way or do certain things for you. You can't change things like the economy or the course of world events. But you don't have to feel like a victim or like you're just surviving. You have the ability to change your relationship to 3 things about yourself which will turn everything around for you, increase your confidence, create inner peace, and reduce your stress significantly. So let's look at the 3 hidden causes of stress. The reason that they're called hidden is because most stress management programs don't talk about these 3 things as underlying causes of your stress. They talk about your job, they talk about your relationship, and they talk about the things outside of you that you really have no control over. So let's get down to what you can really do about your stress so that all of these outside things don't affect you like they're affecting you now. And let's get down to what you need to build a strong foundation for managing your stress in every circumstance of your life. So the first hidden cause of stress is not knowing who you are. It's extremely stressful to try and live up to other people's expectations. And the crazy thing about it is that most of the time we don't even know we're doing it. We walk around unconsciously trying to please other people, and we make our decisions, often without even being aware, according to what other people would prefer, without even realizing that we're compromising ourselves or wasting our energy and getting further and further away from our own truth. Now, if this is your pattern, it's not your fault. Many of us are trained at a very early age to be good, to do what we're told, and to put other people's needs and desires before our own. So that's how we get terribly off course and out of touch with who we really are and what's right for us. There is a place inside of you who knows who you are at your core, what your needs are, and your deepest desires. So what would it be like if you could just walk around freely and authentically, naturally getting your needs met without regard to what other people think or how they may feel about it? This is true freedom and stress-free living. You free up so much energy when you're able to live authentically as who you are created to be. You can release all of those inhibitions and concerns about what you have to do and how you have to do it in order to live up to other people's expectations. So if you're walking around stressed out and unable to make decisions which would really support your well-being, take a look at whether or not you're living from your truth and whether you know yourself well enough to confidently show up as who you really are unapologetically in the world. Because when you are being true to you, you have access to everything you need to thrive. The circumstances which support you are naturally attracted to you. When you show up as your true self, the correct opportunities arise for you to contribute the gifts that you were born with. And when you contribute what's yours to give, the universe always reciprocates. There's no forcing that has to be done. You're just navigated to the place where you can be of the most service from the gifts that you have. But you have to show up as yourself and release who you think you have to be. So the second hidden cause of stress is not knowing how you are. Not knowing how you are in this case is not knowing how you are influenced by others and your environment. Not really having a good understanding of what your vulnerabilities are and how you may need to be more flexible in certain areas and discerning about who you're around and where you place your energy. So when you learn about how you are through the conscious living of your life, you begin to take better care of yourself naturally because you're aware of what really serves you and what doesn't. For instance, if you're experiencing a stressful relationship or a stressful job situation, if you know how you are, You'll stop taking things personally because you'll have a better understanding of how the environment and other people affect you. And most importantly, you'll have an understanding of how to manage yourself within that environment and among those people. You'll also be less likely to get off track and be dissuaded from the things that really allow you to take care of you. Your Human Design Blueprint is an awesome and powerful tool for showing you who you are at a very detailed level and how you are among other people and in your environment. Human Design is a personal growth and personality assessment tool which basically shows you your operating system for how your body and mind work together. It's intended to assist you in gaining awareness about how to live authentically in the world, free of the stress of worrying about your survival and overthinking your next steps. So when you look at your blueprint, your human design chart, you can see who you are in great detail. And you can see what energies you have access to on a consistent basis and what themes you are here to encounter and work with throughout your lifetime. You can also get a really good understanding of where you can be influenced by other people, by circumstances, or your environment. And when you understand who you are consistently, what themes you live out consistently, what energies you have to work with consistently, and also where you are open to the influences of others, then you can begin experimenting with your strategy for living in harmony with your true nature. And along with that, you can start putting into action your unique decision-making process, which can keep you out of unnecessary stress. By understanding your human design, you will overcome the stressors of not knowing who you are and not knowing how you are in the world. And you'll learn over time by putting your strategy and your decision-making process into practice. You'll learn at a very deep level how truly unique you are and how you can be with other people in powerful ways that not only benefit you, but benefit the well-being of everyone around you. You can find out how to get your Human Design Blueprint by going to my website at coachingwithsandy.com and just click on the link that says Free Human Design Chart and you'll find out how to get your chart. All you need is your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location to get this information. So let's move on to the third hidden cause of stress. And the third hidden cause of stress is not knowing where you are. It's the only thing that you can't find out or discover in your Human Design Blueprint. Much of the stress that we experience in our lives is due to the fact that we're reacting to something in the past or we're worried about something that hasn't happened in the future. And when you're operating from the past or you're projecting into the future, you're unable to see what's right in front of you right now. To paraphrase Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now, all of your power is in your present moment. So if you're stressed out or you're feeling fear or reacting to something, then you're not aware of the truth about what's happening right in front of you. Usually the truth in your now is not nearly as stressful as the reaction you're having because you're not in this present moment paying attention to it. When you're not in the present moment, you can't ground yourself. Your instincts aren't sharp, and you can't make good, empowering decisions. So the longer that you've been following your strategy and decision-making process from your Human Design Blueprint, the easier it will be for you to stay in the present moment, for you to know where you are at any given time. But as you're honing this practice, it may be necessary for you to have guidance which brings you back into the moment or prompts your awareness to realign with your true nature. So if you're living in the past, or you're worried about what's coming up in the future, or if you're paralyzed because you've lost trust in yourself and you can't move forward in your life, it would be very beneficial for you to find a guide or a support system that helps you get back on track when you've slipped out of your personal power of your now. As you move more and more into living as your true self without the influences of other people and your environment adversely affecting you, as you're able to be more and more present to the moment you're living, you'll find that the stress in your life begins to reduce significantly. It will feel like a weight has been lifted off of you because you'll no longer be fighting against the current of the life that you're here to live. And when you surrender and go with that full measure of your life and allow it to unfold, you will create the foundation for you to truly thrive by knowing yourself and being yourself. And as you establish this sense of flow through the authenticity of your life, you'll find that you no longer waste your energy on behaviors and worries and fears that prevent you from really trusting yourself and your decisions. You'll give yourself the clarity, confidence, courage, and most of all, the choice to thrive rather than to stressfully survive. Now, believe it or not, there's actually one really great thing about the stress that you're feeling. It's a really good sign that you're ready for change. The good news is that you don't have to look very far for everything you need to make the change that you seek. It's all right there inside of you. You have everything you need inside of you to release the stress which keeps you from the best version of your life. All you have to do is show up as who you really are in each moment, with the full awareness of how to manage the influences which could possibly get you off course. And then you just make great decisions which allow you to get the most from your life. Now, I know you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that's easier said than done. So if you want to discover how you can deepen your journey of reaching inside and relieving that stress by working with your human design blueprint, you're invited to come and check out the programs and services at my website at coachingwithsandy.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking the time to discover how you can begin to change the stress patterns in your life. These are the things that most people aren't talking about when they talk about stress. And if you can get a handle on these three things, who you are, how to manage yourself in the midst of the influences around you, and how to stay present to your life, your journey is going to be so much more powerful and rewarding. And not only will you relieve the source of your stress, but you will be able to contribute the depth of the gifts that you have inside of you. And we need your gifts. We need what you brought to the planet. So until the next time we talk, take very good care of yourself and be well.